everyone, and welcome back to World Builder. In this episode, we are going to be constructing the dock area of this village. So, to start off here, we already had planned out the dock before, which is a very important step. So if you missed that step, I'd recommend doing it. It'll make everything a lot easier for you in the end. Do it. Plan yourself. It's a good idea. Anyway, since we already have a plan, all we have to do is just fill in what's needed where it's needed. So for the dock itself, I decided to go with spruce planks and then mixing in some spruce trapdoors and various other things. But the spruce slabs and spruce trapdoors are the most important part of this. So I mixed the trapdoors in on both the top of the block and on the bottom of the block above, if that makes sense. To where some of them are level with the walkway and some of them are slightly above, just to create more variance. And the ones that were slightly above, I took out the slab that was below them, to make it seem like it was just there the whole time. Um, and then I also added some just holes because it's a very old dock, hasn't been repaired much, all that stuff. And adding in some dark oak slabs to represent like wet areas. Even though the whole thing isn't wet for some strange reason, some of it can be, and it looks better that way. Another thing that I add in is pressure plates. Can't really see them from here, um, because they're small, but they do add a bit of definition to some slab areas. But you have to be careful to not place them next to certain trapdoors, like trapdoors that are on top of the block, because if you step on them, they'll open. So you don't want to do that. Um, yeah, I had some fence posts around the dock, but nothing to like actually protect anyone, so don't fall in. And I do that with cobble walls on the bottom and dark oak fences in the water and spruce fences above the water for the same purpose, like, the things that are wet, they're darker. So, yeah. The houses are built in exactly the same way as the other houses, um, but there were some other difficulties. So they started off with the same like stilt formation and the same stairs as the ones that are on stilts. They use that same sort of premise, because they're obviously not going to be inside the water on the ground level, so there's that. I also put doors in these houses, which I haven't done for any of the other ones, um, but I think it's worth it, especially later on. Um, the roofs are the same. Just again, try to mix up the block palette on the top, because you don't want it all to look the same. Another thing that was a bit of an issue is that there's no height difference in the terrain of the dock, so any height difference I make would have to be through the height of the house itself. Or I could have done more higher stilts, but then I'd have to make a staircase in the dock itself going up to that higher house because you're not going to be walking on it through the water. So I just decided to not do that. And to create changes in the height, I just made the houses itself larger. And that worked somewhat. Um, it looks kind of weird in some places, just because of how it is. But I think it works. Um, I'm just not using a lot of different blocks to make up the walls. So larger walls make it look worse. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to replicate something like this, that larger walls are harder to detail, without using different blocks, which you can use, of course, like you don't have to not. But I just didn't in this particular situation. If that makes sense, I guess. I don't know. That was a very long-winded explanation for something that really isn't that complicated. Uh, so, you see it here. These larger walls that I've made, I have to put windows in. Well, I don't have to, but I put windows in them that are also large. And I can't do stairs next to the windows because then it'll clip the window from the wall, which I really don't like. I wish they would change that, but they're not going to. So you you have to put the stairs below and above the window and not next to it. So something else should go next to the window to add variance in the blocks. And I decided to go for trapdoors for the most part as like shutters. I feel like the people that live on the docks are a bit richer, I guess, than the people that live on land, so they can afford to have fancy shutters on their windows. You know, like the neighbors do. You know, we really got to get those fancy shutters on our house to really compete with the other neighbors are going, because we don't want to be underclassed by them. All of these things combined to create a house that looks different from the others, but still retains some similarities. So a lot of the height issues and size issues can be solved by using smaller windows. So that's what I did with this house. Even though there are a lot more spaces where I could have put windows, I didn't because I didn't want to create another situation where I couldn't put stairs on the top block or in the side blocks. So yeah, but I think I might have added trapdoors to some of these anyway. Not entirely sure. And I continually check the roof and make sure that it looks okay. And now I'm walking around, I guess. I'm deciding what I want to do next here and adding in trapdoors right now because it didn't look good without them. So, and you can't really see that. Probably should have moved the camera, but you'll see it when we go down to look around the finished product. It's not really, well, it is kind of finished. Maybe. I don't know. I can't think of anything else that I'd add to it after what I start doing here. Which is, okay, you're gonna do it? Like, what are you doing? Why do I walk around so much? I don't know. But what I do know is that I make a boat. And rather than do a boat that's just in the ocean, like at the other village, or at the Zantod, it has a name now, Zantod, the desert city, I just decided to put a boat right in the dock, like it's actively shipping stuff to the people here. Or it's being loaded to go to somewhere else. Who knows? Because I certainly don't. And I'd like to think that this boat is better than the one I made over at Zantod. But honestly, I don't know. It's probably a bit smaller, which doesn't really help at all. I feel like most boats, the bigger it is, the easier it is to build because you can do a lot more shape with just logs to make a framework and all that stuff. So I'll try to keep that in mind for the next like city town thing that I make. The only problem is if the boat is big, then the houses and stuff also have to be big. So there's only so much I can really do. Well, I don't know, maybe not. I could make a bigger ship. It would just I couldn't do it here because I need more space below the water that I don't have. I think. I don't know. I'm not even sure what I'm doing myself. So, yeah. But this boat, I tried to do it a bit differently where I set the wood in by one or the planks in by one instead of building them directly in line with like the top part of the ship, like the top logs. I tried to build them in one. And it kind of worked, but it also kind of didn't. So I don't really know. Um, the sail I also do differently, After a quick Google search for Minecraft boat tutorial, I found an image that used like the spruce planks, or that used planks to make like a beam to support the sail, and I really liked that idea, so I decided to copy it. And here we are. Yeah. With that, I'm gonna leave this here. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. Leave a comment any feedback you have for me, and I'll see all of you later. Bye.